Hello everyone. I feel like a little bit of a dunce. I had my audio recording and everything was going smoothly, and then I went back to replay it and it was somehow or another just a blank audio file. And so here I am doing the voice recording again. So hello everyone. Hope you're all doing fabulous today. We are drawing Chongyun from Genshin Impact, and he is the absolute adorablest little character ever. But I say that about all of them. I mean, Genshin just has a good setup of character designs. Like, the format is just fabulous. And I've gotten very minimal complaints, except for sometimes some of the outfits are a little bit too complicated. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is this? Do y'all sleep in these outfits? Because this is ridiculous, the process that would have to be to take it off and put it back on. But I decided to draw Chongyun. I wanted him to be eating his popsicle. So a little backstory, Chongyun, of course, is an ice user, and he also uses a claymore as a weapon. He is also, I guess you could say, like an exorcist, because he always talks about he has to go and take care of the demons, get rid of all the bad energy. And I'm probably going to get this backwards too. I usually do. But he has so much, if I'm not mistaken, I think he has so much yin energy that he has to have something to counteract the yang. But because he has so much, demons just like repel from him. Like, he's like nowhere around him is spiritual activity. And so he tries to go on little missions to try to hunt these characters down. But poor thing, if he gets overheated with the bad energy, he has to have his little popsicles that he has specially made. And he does not do well with hot foods either. But yes, so I did the base sketch, and then we're refining the sketch a little bit more. I will say one issue I had with this drawing of Chongyun was more so of his hair. I felt like the clothing and the position of everything, I felt like I had that down pat, but his hair kind of gave me some issues. And it's just mainly, I think, the angle. And also, this was my first time drawing Chongyun. I probably should do better about doing some sketches beforehand to sketch him out, to get familiar with the way the hair flows and lays and the way the outfit does. But soon I will be back up in my area. It's been since February I've not been able to be in my desk area, and it's been very, very challenging. But nonetheless, I enjoy doing these videos and getting them out to everybody. And even if it helps one person, or if y'all just want to sit and chill and listen to the music, like I do with a lot of videos myself. But yes, so I'll probably draw him a couple more times in the future as well. As I say with all these characters, like, there's not one that I'm like, oh my god, I'm never gonna draw you again. But yes, so I had set myself out the goal of drawing all the Genshin characters on their birthdays. Needless to say, I started this goal in, I think it was April that I started it. And so, of course, I've done April, I'm in May, and I hope that I can keep this up all the way through the year. So maybe what I'll do is, in between the days of the characters, I can draw the other characters as well that's already had a birthday, and put it in between some of these videos, because it's kind of, my goal is to be able to post a video on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then probably an ASMR video on Sunday, be it sketches or drawing. And I may do the ASMR as well on a Wednesday. It'll be a lot easier to plan this stuff out once I'm back in my space. But these videos, they get me into the inspiration mode to start drawing. So I don't know if I mentioned it before, but the format of this drawing did change from a more rectangular, or a more square, I guess you could say, to a rectangular, because I switched it from the Instagram post format to a 5x7. Sorry, my audio kind of cut out there for a second. But yeah, so the format, I did change it, and because I thought maybe I wanted to do a print of this drawing in the future. And you'll see, I start out with the idea of Chongyun on the beach. I found like a really, really pretty reference off of Pinterest. It had a good transition from the purples to the teals of the sky, and then you had the water in the background and everything. So it started out looking alright, but then once I started adding in Chongyun, I was like, yeah, you're very, very blue yourself. Like, you have got a lot of blue undertones, and it was just so much blue. I couldn't figure out the best way to be able to help him to stand out more versus the background. I even contemplated maybe just blurring the background, but then I was like, what's the point in spending all that time on a background if you're gonna blur it? So later on, I do end up changing the background from this ocean view. And I do believe that I think I made his hair a little bit too blue in the end product because I just felt like it was so pale. But the more that I started looking back at his reference and also in the game character as well, he does have a lighter blue hair for sure. Genshin Impact does have a way with their hair colors. Let's see here. So we've done the base sketch, did the sketch after that, and I think I sketched it one more time. And then I put down my little base colors and started refining from there. As usual, about midway through, I would say, of this drawing, I ended up merging my layers and just drawing on top. So I hope everybody is doing good. And if you're into the Genshin gaming adventures, I hope everything's going well there as well. I still need to work on the Spiral Abyss. I don't know, it's just I need to sit down and I need to do it. I've been doing the daily quest and I've been working on getting those mats to level up all my characters. Just about everybody is up to level 60 or higher, and I'm like, should I just keep continuing just to level everybody up and then focus on everything else? It's just, I've had a lot of time on my hands the past couple months since February, so it's one of those things that's just become a daily for me to work on the game and world stuff. So, like I said, I want to draw Chongyun again. I need to figure out if I want to like draw him in, I think I want to draw him in an action pose, like with his claymore, kind of dispelling some little helichurls or something in the distance. Let's see. So, like I said, we're working on the rendering phase at this point in time. And also, I'm still working on the hair. I think, like I said, I spent the longest time on the hair. I don't know what it is about this hairstyle. It's like once again, it's simple, yet it has a certain wave that it wants to go. So I need to, once I practice these characters more and figure out how best to format the hair, I think that will do well. And then get more loose. Sometimes I find that I am a little bit too in line and want to follow something so closely that I get hyper focused on that, and I'm like, wait a minute, if I want to do that, you just outline the character, copy and paste it, and that's basically it. I need to practice more on getting out of that mindset, like use a reference for a reference and don't try to go to it exactly. But I understand certain characters, like their hairstyles are exactly the way it needs to be. Like Chongyun here, he has a special little hair movement, and his hair is very asymmetrical, I've noticed. Which a lot of the characters in Genshin, Hoyoverse in general really likes their asymmetrical looks. But yes, now we're working on his clothes. I do like the way the clothes turned out on this and the shading. For the shadow parts of it and for the creases, I actually used a purple color. It surprised me how well it worked with this color scheme. But as I mentioned before, his jacket isn't like a pure white. I actually went to the hue selector and did more of a bluish white and was able to add purple as an accent, because purple and blues and reds, they kind of all pretty go well together whenever you use them for shading. I've learned that if you use purple on red, it helps out with the shading. I don't mean like just straight up bright purple, like it's a little bit deeper, darker, like a reddish purple maybe. But either way, it usually works out much better. But overall, I will say I was pretty happy with the clothing. I was kind of worried about it at first. I could have rendered it some more, but it's one of those things that you render so much and you're just staring at it for so long. And I really wanted to be able to get a video out to y'all today. Do y'all have any recommendations for future drawings or any other characters specifically that you'd like to see? Once I get over this year of Genshin birthdays, I would like to venture out into other platforms as well. But I really like the Hoyoverse. Like I said, it's brought me out of my shell on a lot of stuff, and I've had a lot of downtime and being able to play the games and learning more about the stories, be it Genshin Impact or Honkai Star Rail, and it's just really fun being able to learn all this stuff, and then to be able to draw the characters is absolutely amazing and my favorite ever. But I will say, since Honkai Star Rail is still pretty fresh, there's not a whole bunch of references. Like with Genshin Impact, you can use Game Fashion Archive for their outfits and how things lay. But Honkai Star Rail, I have not found a good reference platform like that. Maybe after the game's out a little bit longer, they'll have them up on Game Reference Archive. I don't know yet. So, as I had said before, there's the flashing. I flip back and forth between my original piece and then what I've done so far to see if it's heading in the right direction. So I was very pleased with it, but then of course I was still having issues with the background. I think maybe if I would have made the background a little bit darker, he would have stood out more, but instead I didn't. Like I said, it's all in hindsight. Whenever you go back and review stuff, you're like, oh, I could have done this differently, or I could have done that differently, but it's just a learning curve. It is. I will say, starting out doing these videos, I've always wanted to do videos like these with drawings, and I thought one day, I was like, why not? Nothing's stopping me from doing it, and it's fun to be able to share some creativity with other people, and then it gets some art out there somehow or another. But I know things don't happen overnight. I just say keep creating, having fun, and doing what you love. That's the main thing. Draw for you. It don't necessarily have to draw for others, but it's fun to be able to interact with everybody as well. Let's see where we are at now. So I was rendering more and working on the eyes. I changed up his eye highlight because it seemed like in all his pictures that I saw, his eye highlights are like on both sides of his iris, but it's not like up in the corner or anything, and I didn't want to stick to the usual round up in the left or right corner of the eye, so I put his little eye highlights on both sides of his eyes. I probably could have brought his nose down a little bit more now that I'm looking at this, but I can always nitpick my own stuff so much, and other people probably don't notice half of the things that I end up noticing on this. I do like his color scheme though. It's very, very calm, very, very on the cool side. It fits Chongyun very well. Like I said, he is just absolute best boy. If we had to go for the ice characters, he's really, I mean, sometimes I feel like he could be a 5-star character, sometimes the way he is. Of course, if any of the characters honestly could be 5-star characters, as long as you get good artifacts on them and level them up and work on their talents. But yeah, you see the background flipping. I was going between gradient maps and soft lights, and I was trying to, honestly, if I probably would have kept it on this one, it would have been fine, but I didn't. I ended up changing it, and so he didn't stand out as much. And then I wanted to put in his little snowflakes because it's just very iconic. Whenever he eats the popsicle, he ends up like, I guess, little snowflakes around him, and he like shivers like it's cold. So I wanted to incorporate that somehow, but then I was like, that would be kind of hard to do with between the background and him, and I feel like that'd be so much blue and so much white. So eventually I do end up changing the background to more of a muted background, and then I did kind of like a border. It reminds me of like a playing card almost, like you'd get a stack of Genshin Impact cards, and Chongyun would be on them as well. I wonder which card he would be. I feel like he would probably be like, he'd be on up there, a 10 or an 8. So here's where you see, I look at this, I'm like, oh, the background doesn't look right. And at first I was going to do ice behind it, but I was like, I really didn't want that to be like the main focus. So then I started working on a snowflake, and I literally just copy and paste that sucker everywhere. I changed it to an add layer and did some chromatic aberration, and I blurred some of them and added some to the foreground. Also ended up doing the little dots everywhere that I've been liking to do lately, and I did chromatic aberration and Gaussian blur on that. So we are coming towards the end of this video, or this Procreate Timelapse. I say a video, but it's really just the time-lapse of my drawing. And I hope everybody's enjoyed it. Like I said, any future recommendations, let me know. And until next time, I will see y'all then. Bye-bye.